Hello and welcome to CenterPoint, the GLBT Community Center of Colorado's new monthly news program. I'm Rex Fuller, and tonight we are going to talk about Denver PrideFest coming up on June 21st and 22nd. We're going to learn a little bit about the history of Pride and some of the planning that goes into what has become one of the largest celebrations of LGBT Pride in the country. And joining us tonight is Center CEO Deborah Pollack. Hello, Deb. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rex.
You know, before we talk about PrideFest, I know that congratulations are in order because you were recently appointed permanent CEO of the center. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I hope the job is treating you well.
I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, why don't you just tell us a little bit about why PrideFest is important to the community and why it's important to the center?
Okay. It's a celebration of our culture, and it is one of our main programs at the center. We host 325,000 people over the two-day festival. I know, that's a lot of people. And it's a chance for people to come out and enjoy themselves and really celebrate who they are.
Great. Well, with 325,000 people, that's got to have kind of a significant impact on the community. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
We know that 8% of the people who come to Pride come from outside a 50-mile radius, and the economic impact to Denver is $25 million.
That is amazing. Well, what is the theme for PrideFest this year?
This year's theme is Same World, Same Love. And we wanted to show our support and appreciation for all of the marriage initiatives that are happening across the country.
What are some of the activities that you're looking forward to at PrideFest this year?
Well, I always love the family interactive area. It's really fun to see LGBT and straight families with their kids participating in activities at Pride. This year, Frontier Airlines is sponsoring the family interactive area, so we're looking forward to some great activations. We have a petting zoo on Saturday and Sunday this year, and a lot of great new activations. So I hope that everybody will come down and check it out. Also, you know, Dogs and Drag is always really fun. When people come, they dress up their animals, their pets, and we have a little contest, so that's always a fun feature. And then we also do a kids parade on Saturday at noon in the park. Kids come and they decorate their bicycles, and we do a parade around the park with the Mile High Freedom Band, and that's a really fun time.
Well, and there's a lot of entertainment at the festival over the weekend, right?
Yes. We have 3 different stages, which I think DeMarcio is going to talk about in a second. So I'll save that for him, but we have a DJ and dance area and a main stage area, and we also have a Latino stage. So always great entertainment that comes from all over the country.
Wow. I know the parade on Sunday morning is really kind of a centerpiece of the festival. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The Coors Light PrideFest Parade is very opulent and a lot of fun. It stages at Cheeseman Park, and then comes down Colfax Avenue to the Capitol where it joins the festival. There are usually 120, 130 entries and a lot of really creative floats. So it's always fun to see how creative people are and what their entries are going to look like.
Wow. Who are the Grand Marshals for this year's parade?
We're super excited about our Grand Marshals this year. We were lucky enough to get the couple from Colorado who've just participated on The Amazing Race. It's a mother and son team, Luke and Margie. You guys probably know them if you were watching The Amazing Race. Luke is an out gay man who happens to be deaf, and Margie is his very supportive mom. They're very excited to join us here in Denver for 4 days, and we're really excited about all of the activities we're going to be able to do with them.
That sounds wonderful. I've heard about the VIP experience at Pride. Could you tell us a little bit what that's all about?
The VIP area is located adjacent to the main stage, and it's a nice big area that we've created to take care of our sponsors and our donors. And also, if you don't happen to be in those 2 groups, you can also purchase a ticket and enjoy the VIP experience. I think on Saturday it's $85 and on Sunday it's $145, and you will have access to food and beverage, a restroom, and a little piece of shade, which is always a nice thing to have at Pride. It's just a really enjoyable place to enjoy the festival and the entertainment on the main stage.
It sounds great. With such a big event, there just must be a huge amount of planning that goes into putting this together. Could you tell us a little bit of just what goes into all this?
Sure. Well, there is a huge amount of planning that goes into Pride, obviously. We work on this event all year round, honestly. And I think the most exciting part of the process are the volunteers who participate. We have an amazing group of 40 core volunteers who work on this event from January through the festival, and they do such an awesome job. They really pour their hearts into it, and they're a great team to work with.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really exciting event this year. Really appreciate you coming down and telling us about it, and we'll look forward to seeing you at PrideFest.
My pleasure.
Every year, Denver PrideFest has some incredible entertainment. The festival features 3 stages, including the Latino stage, the center stage at the Greek Theater, and an amazing lineup of DJs at the Dance World stage. These entertainers are all arranged by a group of volunteers who work tirelessly to bring the best available. And joining us is one of those volunteers who makes it all possible, Mr. DeMarcio Slaughter. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, how long have you been emceeing the center stage?
Last year was actually a decade, so it was my 10-year anniversary, so this year marks number 11. Then I've been up there talking and shaking my stuff.
How did you get involved?
It's a funny story, I'll tell it really quickly. I used to help drag queens who could never get ready on time. I was that little skinny kid carrying in their bag after them. So as the shows got bigger and bigger and they could never be on time, they'd say, DeMarcio, go out and stall for us. So I'd take the mic and I'd do some jokes that I'd seen on TV or copy somebody else's comedy. And over time, I turned into the MC for the show just by taking those stall tactics and humoring an audience. And now I MC PrideFest. I mean, it's funny. It's amazing.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah.
I think we might have a picture of you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, there
Which
it
one?
is.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I hear you make all your own outfits.
I do. I draw them every May, so I just actually got finished drawing. And I go to New York to pick out the fabric, and I mix and match, and I try to be creative. It's really tough being a boy in a drag queen world sometimes, but I take a lot of costumes from my idol and I put pants on them, and I get out there and try to keep the audience entertained.
Well, you must have an army of elves backstage working to keep it all.
I do. I have people, my good friends, zipping me up and pushing me out there. Yes, I do.
How much planning goes into putting the lineup together for the center stage?
Sometimes it's hard and it's time consuming. So, gosh, anywhere from 2 to 3 months of just sorting, and then I start contacting people and trying to put the puzzle together.
Well, I know there's always a couple of really featured headliner artists, so I'm curious to know, who is it this year?
This year's headliners are Broadway star and Grammy nominee Frenchie Davis.
Oh.
She was originally on American Idol and was removed for some racy photos that came up, but then she went on to The Voice. And she was like a second runner-up. I think it was on Team Christina, as a matter of fact. And she went on to do Broadway. And I mean, she can sing like nobody's business. And then also we have David Hernandez, who was also on American Idol.
Right.
And he also got removed because they found out he was a go-go boy. Oh. Shucks. So at least we know he looks good. But he can also sing. He was one of the finalists before they asked him to leave the show.
Oh, wow.
So those are the 2 featured performers that we've been working on.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Well, then there's also a lot of entertainers that return year after year who are really popular. Can you say some of the more popular ones that are coming back?
I love, we have a dance troupe called Soulfully Driven. They're so very talented, and they can, if I could move like that, seriously, I'd make $1 million. Carlo Riley is a favorite of ours. He does Michael Jackson, and I called him yesterday and asked him to come back. Also, Trax Nightclub lets us borrow their drag queens and folks from RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh. So we have great names like Victoria Sexton, Mariah Spanik, that have really done a lot of good in the community, so when their name is featured, the community comes back to support them. So that's always a plus.
That'll be a very exciting lineup.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I also want to make sure that we mention some of the other entertainers who are coming this year. I mentioned the Latino stage, which is very, very popular.
Yes.
Some of the artists who will be featured there, they've got 2 full days of entertainment, but DJ Chula will be there. She will be sort of hosting as well as performing. La Colombiana will be there. And then openly gay Latino pop star Fedro will be a big headliner. Very excited about that. And then at Dance World, they have some of the top DJs in the country, really, who are coming to perform as part of PrideFest. DJ Tatiana is one of the leaders of the group that put that together. She'll be performing, and then DJ Flowers, another alumni from RuPaul's Drag Race, will be
Nina
performing.
Flowers. And I can say about the DJ stage, I don't know, DJ Tatiana and DJ Sante have really educated me about what goes into mixing and whatnot, and apparently in this age, you can just push a button to formulate your sound for a DJ, but they really schooled me on how much intricate detail is put into finding the right beats and mixing the message and trebles of the song. So I really appreciate their talent, and I wish I could get over there more, but they're thumping all day long, so that'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. Well, would you just tell me a little bit about what's your favorite part of doing this? What kind of keeps you involved for all these years?
The favorite part for me, and this actually happened today really, though, is letting newbies, new performers, have that opportunity to be on that stage. I talked to a guy just today who sent me, I think the group is called Train Wrecked, and they're young students, and they're incredible dancers, and he literally sent me his email with the link and called me at the same time. So I'm on the phone with him watching his video link, and just incredible dance talent. And I said, you know what? You guys are really good. I'd like you to be a part of my show. And I could hear him beaming through the phone. He said this means so much to him. And he was just so elated at the opportunity. And that's what I live for. It's just to give somebody a chance to get out there and do what sometimes I take for granted, just entertain and be themselves.
Well, thank you for all the work that you put into putting this all together, and can't wait to see what outfits you're coming up with this year.
Yes, there are several new ones. I was inspired this year by Neil Patrick Harris. I went to see Hedwig in New York. And so I copied some of his things, and so there'll be lots of flashy skin and feathers and a little bit of everything. You don't want to miss it, Rex. You need to be there.
I will be there. Well, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
The 1950s and 60s were a very repressive time for gay and lesbian people. Homosexuality was illegal in all 50 states except Illinois and punishable by fines or jail time. Gay men and women were often isolated from each other and secretly met in gay bars that were subject to frequent raids by the police. Often an arrest could result in public humiliation.
I didn't know any other gay people throughout high school. And there was a night when I was confronted by Mom, Dad, and my sister. And they knew. And they asked me, and I affirmed it. And they said, my mom, the spokesperson for the family, said, okay, you've got one of 2 choices. Either you're going to jail right now or to a hospital right now. It's your choice. And I thought, you know, this is too much. I don't think so. My dad had broke down bawling. He was wailing away. But she was meaning exactly what she said. And she started towards the phone. And I had my car parked outside, and I got in front of her quickly and got out into the car and disappeared to Oklahoma City for a couple of weeks. When I came back, they had cooled down some, but not completely. They iced over for many years. Slowly warmed out throughout the 60s and into the 70s. They never really fully understood nor fully accepted. The thing that really bothered me the most was the fact that the church was very anti-gay. I did manage to go into nursing during the early 60s, but was booted when they found out I was gay. I managed to get a degree in clinical psych, but nobody ever questioned you about that. But I entered the seminary in Austin, Texas, the Episcopal Seminary, and spent 1 year there, and they found out, and when they did, they axed me as well. And that was the formal and final end of my attempt at the priesthood. After that, I was pretty much on my own.
Early on the morning of June 28, 1969, the police raided the Stonewall Inn, a small gay bar in New York's Greenwich Village. The police expected a typical raid, but this time the bar's patrons fought back. Suddenly, the raid erupted into a full-scale riot that lasted for 3 nights. The Stonewall riots were soon regarded as the beginning of the LGBT fight for civil equality.
I didn't really have any sense of what gay meant until I was like in junior high school. But as soon as I learned that there was such a thing as a homosexual, I realized also that they were considered sick, sinful, and against the law. And so later we came to think of that as the three-legged stool of gay oppression, that we were sick, sinful, and against the law. Speaking for me personally, I had become radicalized. I came out socially, politically, sexually all at once. And it was the sense of rage that I had that I'd been lied to for so long about this whole idea of homosexuality being sick, sinful, and against the law. And that as long as I lived, no one else should ever have to face those kinds of barriers to being fully who they wanted to be or could be. So I came with that sense of outrage to Denver, and immediately I joined a group called Unity that was kind of a precursor to the center. It was a coalition of different GLBT, well, just G and L organizations, and mostly just G organizations at that time, that were interested in forming a community center.
The movement began to spread across the country. Gay men and lesbians had long come to urban centers in search of greater acceptance. Denver, as one of the larger cities in the Rocky Mountain area, became a center of LGBT activism.
Okay. I was involved in Dignity, which is a gay Catholic organization. That's the first place I came out to myself and with a partner that I met in college. So I remember there was a gay pride march, and I was not with my partner at the time. And I really had fun in that gay pride. I have a picture of myself. My mom saw it once, and she says, "You're really happy in that picture." I was just really free. I just felt free marching down Colfax with other people. So I would say that was my real coming out to myself. So I just sort of left the church and left that and went into more of a feminist, separatist kind of frame of mind and support group. And didn't really get involved in the center except for support groups as someone who would use the center, not organizing it or doing anything that way.
Gay pride celebrations became a way to promote LGBT visibility and to honor the activists who stood up in the face of discrimination.
The first year that I was in Denver, in June of 1976, was the first parade. And it started from Cheeseman Park and went down to Civic Center, just like it does today. And it was largely organized by people involved with the Imperial Court.
Pride Parade is important because it's a tradition, and it's grown, which is one thing, and its mission seems to be more inclusive rather than in your face.
Over the years, Denver's annual Pride Weekend has come to symbolize many things, including a great time to get together with friends. Since those early days, Denver PrideFest has grown into one of the largest celebrations of LGBT pride in the nation. We are proud to honor those early pioneers of gay liberation and equal rights who make today's celebrations possible.
I came first, I don't know, about 2006 or so, and then forward washed the the amount of people grow from under 100,000 to 325,000 this past year.
It's everybody. There is nothing as diverse as a Pride celebration. There is nothing. It rewrites the whole question of diversity in terms of race, age, class, language, and even approaches to life, the way people live their lives. I love it just because it is such a diverse group of people that I would otherwise probably never see.
Sometimes people forget that many of the folks who first stood up to discrimination during the Stonewall riots were drag queens. In addition to laws against same-sex relationships, gender nonconforming men and women were subject to additional penalties. Joining us now to discuss these issues is Courtney Gray. Courtney is the founder and program manager of the Transgender Services Program at the Center. She was recently named one of the Trans 100, a select group of high-profile individuals who are making a difference on a national level. In addition to managing the support groups and programs provided by the Center, Courtney has become a vocal and effective advocate for transgender health care and has recently served on a national task force with the U.S. Justice Department addressing special concerns for transgender inmates. Well, tell me a little bit about the trans resource area at PrideFest.
Absolutely. So this is the 5th year for the Trans Resource Area at Pride, and it's become kind of a safe space for trans folks to gather, find new friends. Sometimes it's the first time that people have come out and been a part of the festival, so they use it as a bit of a touchstone and come back and see some friendly faces. And this year we're going to expand that out a little bit, and we're going to have some exciting things happening in the space.
Like what?
We're going to do. We'll have a Matt Cayley's band that will be on site. We'll also have some massage therapists available and some fun games that we're going to be playing.
Well, it sounds like it'll be really interesting and really fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
We mentioned a little bit earlier that drag queens were part of the start of the Pride movement, but also that was really something for gender nonconforming people in general. I'd love to just hear your thoughts about honoring those people who were involved in the early days of LGBT Pride.
Absolutely. I mean, Pride came out of a lot of the folks that were involved in Stonewall. And one of the fun facts about Stonewall is everyone believes that there were rocks that were thrown. Well, you just don't find rocks in New York City. Many people believe that the first thing thrown was a high heel. And the Stonewall Inn was a place where drag queens and gender nonconforming folks and sex workers and all kinds of folks gathered, and that was the origin. So Pride was started in kind of rebellion of that, and saying we're here, and I think the chant was we're here, we're queer, get used to it, and so many of those gender nonconforming folks and drag queens started it.
I know that at LA Pride, they've taken a step this year. Instead of the traditional LGBT, they're going to refer to folks as TGLB. I thought that was really interesting. Could you talk about that a little bit and what you think of it?
You know, I kind of like it. It's bringing Pride back to its roots, and really honoring the people that started it.
I think that's an interesting point. You've shared with me before, and I'd love to hear some about it. Your personal experience with PrideFest. You'd mentioned that at the Trans Resource Center, that's often a place where people meet for the first time or perhaps explore their gender for the first time. And I'd love to hear some about your story in Pride.
Yeah, so Pride was an interesting experience for both myself and my wife. We went to Pride for the first time, and it was one of the very first times that I had actually stepped out in the light of day as a woman for the first time. I'd been out lots of times at night, but never during the day. So we went to Pride because we figured that was a pretty safe space to go, but we weren't entirely sure what to expect, and we were looking for some community, and we certainly found it. But it was, I was terrified, and I know my wife was too, walking in there and as to what we might find. Would I be made fun of? Would people point and laugh? Would they snicker? And within about 30 seconds of walking through the park, you realize that you're probably not even in the top 100 most interesting things in the park. So it was really kind of an affirming thing that I can be in this space, I can be safe, and there's other people like me, and other people that that I would have considered much more sure of themselves out there that I could emulate, and I could see that I could be okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the story with us, and thanks a lot for joining us.
Absolutely, I'm glad I came.
Hope you really enjoy Pride this year.
I'm sure I will.
Denver PrideFest is scheduled for June 21st and 22nd in Denver's Civic Center Park. Saturday features entertainment and activities for the entire family, as well as the Denver Dyke March and the Big Gay 5K. The PrideFest Parade steps off from Cheeseman Park at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Don't forget that host Chris Parente will be announcing the parade from the rooftop patio at the center at Colfax and Lafayette. And we will be webcasting and broadcasting the parade live through Denver Open Media on Comcast Channel 56 in Denver, as well as through our website. And I need to mention that major donors to the center's annual fund will be enjoying a reception and private viewing of the parade from our rooftop patio. Over the weekend, we will offer our VIP package that gives you special access to the main stage entertainment, including RuPaul's Drag Race star Ben de la Creme, Frenchie Davis, and David Hernandez. More information is available at our website. And stop by the Latino stage and Dance World all weekend long for even more great entertainment. And of course, all weekend there are hundreds of booths to shop from and lots of food and drink to fuel your celebration. For up-to-the-minute updates, please visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/Denver PrideFest or follow us on Twitter @CO Center. And of course, more information is available through our website, glbtcolorado.org/PrideFest, and on our mobile app on the iTunes Store. Well, that's it for this month. We hope you enjoyed our first program. Let us know what you think. We welcome your comments at our Facebook page, facebook.com/CO Center. And we'll be back here early next month with highlights from the PrideFest Parade, hosted by our special guest, Chris Parente. You can sign up for email updates and upcoming programs on our website, glbtcolorado.org. Thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for your support of the Center. CenterPoint is created in cooperation with Denver Open Media and produced by the Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Community Center of Colorado. Learn more at our website, glbtcolorado.org.